We have found the top 10 catchers in MLB The Show 22 through looking at the 5 most important attributes for catchers. The 5 most important attributes: contact versus left and right, power versus left and right, and arm strength. What did we do with those attributes? We went into an Excel sheet, found out the average for each player, and took the top 10 out of the average. Some of these players are going to be extremely expensive, while others are going to be relatively cheap, if not free to get through certain methods. Now, why are these attributes the most important for catchers? Well, contact dictates how big your PCI is. Power dictates how many extra base hits you can get, or how hard you will hit the ball in terms of exit velocity, which will translate to home runs, extra base hits, and you want to meet the threshold of 80 against both sides most of the time. And arm strength is important because without any arm strength, you're not going to be throwing out any runner, and everybody's going to be stealing on you, and you don't want to give up free bases. At number 10, Sean Murphy falls in here. He is a right-handed catcher, but he's not a platoon hitting catcher. He's actually better against right-handed pitching than he is against left-handed pitching. What makes him stand out as opposed to other catchers is that 98 arm strength and 99 reaction. He's gonna have the quickest pop time in the game, and you prowl on him once and he's gonna also have the best arm strength in the game. Looking at his hitting, like I said, he's not a platoon hitter. He's actually better against right-handers. 94 power, 69 contact versus left-handers, it's not that big of a difference. 60 contact and 85 power is still good enough, especially at the lower difficulties, to hit home runs non-stop. As you get into the higher difficulties, it will get a little bit more difficult as the PCI shrinks as you play on Hall of Fame and Legend difficulties. This Sean Murphy you can get buy now 17K and sell now 14.5K at the time of this video. Support the channel for free. Hit that like button, red subscribe button, notification bell. We stream on Twitch 10 p.m. Eastern. Links are inside the description for the Twitch and Discord. Number 9 is gonna be Salvador Perez, who is going to be a very unique catcher in terms of the rankings, as if he's playing up on any given day in terms of inside edge, it's gonna allow him to go ahead and jump in the standings, because that 65 contact versus right is going to be boosted, and the more contact versus right you have, the bigger your PCI is going to be against right-handed hitters, or pitchers, excuse me. Now the downside to him, of course, is going to be that 72 arm strength paired with 56 reaction. That's unfortunately not going to allow you to throw out as many runners as you'd like to, which would then go ahead and give Sean Murphy the edge defensively. But with inside edge, this man Salvador Perez has already a good swing in the game, and the more contact he has in terms of inside edge, the higher the PCI will be, as opposed to Sean Murphy's, and he's already a great hitter against lefties. He's a platoon catcher. At the time of this video, you can get Salvador Perez for 15.3K buy now, sell now 13.8K. Coming in at number 8 is going to be Mike Napoli, probably one of the best hitting catchers inside the game without a doubt. I mean, 80 against both sides in terms of contact, and then 90 against both sides in terms of power. The only downside is he's not a switch hitter, or else this card would just blow your mind. Downside, in addition to that, is going to be the arm strength, coming in at a 62 and reaction at a 50. 62 arm strength is just not doable when it comes to catcher. A lot of the base runners are also going to be safe. The only way you're going to be able to go ahead and throw base runners out is A, if they get a bad jump, B, if they're slow runners, or C, if you're able to time it well and quick step correctly, or even do a pitch out. Napoli is part of the Rangers collection, which at the time of this video, you could have gotten him for 17,000 stubs. Now, I know that the community market went crazy, and that's because someone found this glitch that allowed him to redeem non-stop 67,500 stubs without charging him, and he went ahead and bought a ton of the diamonds inside the community marketplace, therefore manipulating the market and getting himself banned. At number 7, we have Francisco Alvarez. He has great contact against left-handers and power against left-handers. He's more of a platoon right-handed hitter than anyone else we have seen in this list. And then the 79 power versus right, you prowl on him up to 1 and it gets to the threshold. The 70 contact versus right is still going to be good enough. What makes him better than someone like Salvador Perez, for example, is he has 82 arm strength, so he's definitely gonna have a better time gunning runners out, as well as that 70 reaction. He's gonna have a much quicker pop time than Salvador Perez as well. I believe he was part of the big dog set 1. You can get him buy now 12.6K, sell now 10.2K in the community market currently. At number 6 is probably one of the biggest surprises for me. Now go ahead and take away 2 from each and every single attribute, because I have them paralleled up to parallel 2. Carson Kelly is the definition of platoon hitter inside this game. He has, without being parallel, 97 contact versus left, 102 power versus left. I went ahead and subtracted it before I went ahead and averaged it, just in case you're wondering. And in addition to that, his contact 61 power, 76, similar to all of these hitters except Mike Napoli that we have already seen. But what helps him out tremendously is that his arm strength will be in 81, and he has an even higher reaction than any of the other catchers that we have seen. So that's going to help his pop time be a lot quicker, and with the 80 arm strength already, he's also going to be gunning runners out without a problem. And I didn't think this card was going to be good at all, but look at how I'm hitting with him. 479, you can't see the slugging, but it's 1.125. He's amazing. And how do you get him? He's either going to be Faces of the Franchise featured program, or in terms of the community market, you can get him for 11.7k buy now, 10k sell now. At number 5, and I was very surprised to see that he came in at number 5. I expected him to be like top 3. In my personal opinion, he is top 3 catchers, if not the best catcher to have if you're no money spent and you have a budget team. Why? He's a switch hitting contact hitting catcher. He has 90 contact against both sides, and then in terms of power, you parallel him up to parallel 2, he's gonna meet that 80 power threshold. In addition to that, he has 86 arm strength, 85 without parallel 1, and he also has 75 reaction. Now 75 reaction is more than good enough, and the 85 arm strength is also going to be more than good enough. Adley Rutschman, you can get him for absolutely free inside this game if you do the mini seasons unlimited prospect pack method, which I do have a playlist for on this channel. Just go to tips, guides, and settings in terms of the playlist, and you will find it. You can get them for absolutely free and have one of the best contact hitting catchers that's a switch hitter inside the game with power to hit home runs as well. Number 4 is going to be Gary Sanchez, and that should be no surprise. Gary Sanchez, in terms of the game, has one of the best, if not best, swings that a right-handed hitter can possibly have inside this game. He's also a platoon hitting catcher. He's great in terms of contact and power against left-handers, and versus right-handers, unfortunately, he doesn't have great contact, but he has 96 power, which is beautiful as well. His arm strength is great. It comes in at an 82, and with the 72 reaction, you're happy as well, because you are basically getting a Sean Murphy that is much more upgraded in terms of power against both sides and contact versus left. Versus right, they're both similar, so you're getting a much more upgraded hitting Sean Murphy with just less arm strength and less reaction. Gary Sanchez, you get him from the Life Series collection for the Yankees. It was 56k at the time of the video. Because of the whole community market fiasco, it might be a lot more expensive now, so I'd just wait a couple of days till it settles back down. Into the top 3 we go. We got Jorge Posada, World Series reward, contact hitting catcher that's extremely great against left-handers. He has above 100 against each and every attribute versus left-handers, and then versus right-handers, 89 contact versus right is great. You parallel him up to parallel 2, and he's gonna meet that 80 power versus right threshold. The downside to Jorge Posada, he's a switch hitter, so that's a humongous upside in terms of the hitting aspect. The downside to him is 75 arm strength and 72 reaction. They're doable to say the least, but that's really the only downside that Jorge Posada has. Where can you find them? Either you hit World Series or get the World Series pack through the innings, or you go ahead and buy him outright. 53k buy now, 48k sell now. Coming in at number 2 might be a surprise to you all. It's going to be 96 overall Joe Mauer. Great contact against both sides. I think he's the best contact hitting catcher against both sides besides Jorge Posada, contact versus left. But when we're looking at it overall, he's definitely the best contact hitting catcher. Great power against right-handers, and then versus left-handers, doesn't have the power that you would like to meet the 80 threshold, but his swing, some people like it, some people don't. I'm on the fan of don't like, but if you like it, it's gonna be good enough to have pop against lefties as well. Beauty behind him is, not only is he a great contact and power hitting catcher, he also has everything you would need on the defensive side of things. He has 88 arm strength, and he also has 74 reaction. So he's going to have a decent pop time, but the arm strength is going to be well above average, which is going to be beautiful. As you parallel him up, he's going to be able to get that 90 arm strength, which will be diamond tier, and reaction unfortunately never hits the gold tier as it caps off at 79, just like his power versus left. You get this Joe Mauer by getting all of the cover athletes. At the time of this video, it was roughly 324,000 stubs in order to go ahead and get all of those cover athletes. So a bit too expensive for my liking, and it should be a bit too expensive for all of your likings, as there is another catcher available, but he's similar to this one in terms of expensive. I'd just go with Adley Rutschman, if not Jorge Posada. Surprisingly, at number 1, even surprised me, is actually Gary Carter. And the reason why is because he has a lot more power than Joe Mauer against both sides, and he also has that contact versus left above an 100. The contact versus right leaves a lot to be desired at a 72, but it's still decent enough, if not better than most of the catchers we have seen on this list, of course. And then the arm strength at an 85 is going to be on par with Joe Mauer's. That's why he's coming in at number 1. 70 reaction is going to be good enough. And how do you get him? He's going to be the Mets Live Series collection, and roughly right now 249k might be a little bit more expensive because of the whole community market fiasco to go ahead and complete the Mets, but that's how you get him.